Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. We're here today at Expo 2017 in Chicago. We're here with Michael Fremer, Analog Planet.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Stereophile both.
And Stereophile, both at
hats.
the same time.
I wear no hats. You wear a hat. I don't wear a hat.
When you are doing your job,
Yes, which is 24/7 actually at this point. It really is. There's no let up. I do it 24/7.
you're reviewing equipment, you're listening to interesting turntables a lot of times, cartridges especially, but speakers, everything, right?
Everything. I review everything. Even digital. I even review digital. I hold my nose and I review it. No, it's
Freaking me out.
It's much better. It's gotten much better with MQA encoding and decoding. It's much better. I still think records is still better.
So let's talk records for you.
Okay.
When you are evaluating equipment, what records do you particularly listen to that tell you something about the equipment?
Well, there was a time when I thought I would have to only listen to the certain given records that I have in my collection that I know well, but I've changed my mind about that. I think you can play a record that you don't know, that you've never heard before. You play that record, and then you say, okay, I'm going to evaluate the quality of that record and the sound of that record. And you make certain notes about how that sounds. And then you go back to your normal, let's say, phono preamplifier, and then you go, oh, well, these notes are either very wrong or, okay, it sounds correct. It's sounding like what it should sound like. And sometimes it sounds very different. And then you can easily make an evaluation of what this particular product's colorations are, rather than playing a very familiar record first. So it doesn't matter. I like to play just whatever I'm playing, I'll play, and then I'll go back and do a more formal evaluation. Otherwise, you know what ends up happening? You spend 3 years playing the same 5 records over and over again, and this can drive people crazy. That's my problem.
There's people, they brought their records with them. I mean, so they've got the 5 records.
It's like I was once in a room, and they had a really good system. I'm not going to mention names. And we're playing a bunch of music, and it all sounded really great. This guy comes in with his own CD of an opera, and he puts it on, and it's the brightest, hardest, horrible sounding recording. And he goes, this system is horrible. It's bright. It's shrill. How do you live with this system? I said to him, you know what? It's your CD that's that. We've been playing 2 hours worth of music in here that sounds fantastic, of all known great recordings. And you have picked the worst sounding recording I've ever heard as your reference. That's your problem.
So assuming that you have some that you do like, that you have used in the past, or something new that you've just come upon that you like, anything we would recognize?
Well, not a lot of people are going to get this one, but it's a direct-to-disc Berlin Philharmonic Brahms Symphony cycle, done direct-to-disc with 2 microphones. It's, in terms of space, in terms of instrumental focus, it's spectacular. It just lets you know whether your system can do 3-dimensionality. I had the head of Ortofon, the guy that designs their cartridges, over, and I had the A95 in the system, and I played him some records. I wanted to see whether he heard what I heard, and he really loved what his cartridge was doing in my system, which is nice, because I don't want to disappoint a guy like that in my system. But the Brahms cycle is fantastic, and I think it's already sold out, so they can use that. You know what's great? There's a record called The Sound of Jazz that Chad Kassem just reissued. It's a 1957 or 58 stereo recording of jazz greats. They did a television show on CBS the night before, in mono, of course, because it was television. Then they all went over to the 33 studio, and they recorded it again in spectacular stereo, wide. And the 2-track analog master tape was missing for a long time, so nobody reissued it. Chad and his people and Sony found the 3-track master, and they mastered from the 3-track directly to lacquer, and it's for space and musicality. It's a fantastic record and very useful in this regard.
Right. So jazz and some classical. How about anything?
I can't. I don't get that formalized because it really limits you. I really think you just sit down, play a bunch of music, and say, how do I react to it? What's it doing? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Is there anything I'm hearing on every record that I'm not used to hearing on every record? Like, does the bass blobby on every record? Is it shrill compared to what I'm used to? And then you draw your rough sketch of what it's, and then you go and pick records you really know well, and go to the next level, and then you write your review.
Michael, we could talk all day about this, but you've got a session to do here and show people how to really set their turntables up properly, because as we know, 1 or 2% of turntables are actually properly set up out there in the world.
Well, except for the 16,000 plus people who have bought my DVD on how to set up a turntable. And those are all properly set up. All of them, every one of them, because I visited every one of these people.
If that comes with the cost, the $40 cost of your seat, you're going to sell a lot of those. Thank you for taking a few moments. Always a pleasure to see you.
Great to talk to you.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in cool Cleveland.